Tomorrow night's game, we're playing another first-place team. So, again, great scheduling. You know, we drew them twice this year in the midweek deal, and it's a chance to play against a team that's winning their conference. And the non-league schedules worked out great for us in that regard. And they played great this weekend, swept. They won a 6-5 game yesterday. Really like Mike Silva. He's a good coach, and looking forward to getting out there and playing again.
Do you know who you might throw?
Yeah, I think we have a grouping of guys. I want to look back at their weekend before establishing the order, and also the fact that we played them already will factor into that a little bit. But, you know, you can kind of guess with how the weekend was used, like what grouping, you know, will be out there. You know, Blake Money, Sam Dutton, Thatcher Hurd. You know, I think the guys that threw yesterday all threw light pitches, or really everybody that came out of the bullpen with the exception of Griffin Herring, you know, I would think would be available.
How's Tommy White feeling?
You know, I didn't talk to him this morning. He went to class. You know, was just a little sore, kind of dinged up. So it just felt like it wasn't in his best interest for him to continue playing yesterday. And, you know, the body language throughout the game, he was in the dugout, didn't seem like a guy that was super or overly concerned, you know, with anything, but it was probably in his best interest, as hard as it is to take out the national RBI leader, you know, in a conference game. It was probably what we needed to do. But I'm optimistic that it's just like a day-to-day thing that we need to treat and stay on top of it. And Josh Walker, our trainer, does a great job. So I haven't spoken to Tommy today, but I did talk to Josh, and it's kind of where we're at.
Any updates on Chase or
No.
Garrett?
No.
So Tuesday for Tommy might just be like a rest day for him, just to get him ready for the weekend? Or?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you know, if he can play, we want him to play.
Yeah.
But we'll see. There's no, you know, it's literally a day-to-day situation. You know, it's really hard to cultivate this culture where you're talking about every game being a playoff game. You know what I mean? And then say, hey, we're going to rest. At the same time, you know, sometimes you have to pay attention to those types of things. This team has overcome a lot of adversity relative to health. And we can. You know, I mean, he was out for 3 games, you know, early in the season, and then could only DH for a while. And we were able to withstand that pretty good. You know, because of depth. And what about yesterday? I mean, Braden Joubert made 2 great plays at third base. You know, Josh Pearson, I don't think got any hits, but he hit 2 rockets and took really quality at bats behind the best player in the universe, and that matters a lot. And turned the lineup over just enough to get us to the point where we got to in the 9th inning. So, really pleased with Braden stepping in and doing that. Really pleased with Josh. So. That was something I wanted to make sure I mentioned today.
What's your takeaway from the weekend?
Awesome. Yeah, awesome weekend. I think Friday and Saturday were 2 of our better games of the year. We played great, like in every phase. We executed exactly what we wanted to do offensively and from the mound. Sunday, not so much. Like we could kind of gut through it a little bit. I thought JT Quinn threw the ball well. You know, we had to kind of grind through that. We made 2 base running mistakes, which kind of thwarted some of the offensive momentum. I think defensively we played fine, and pitching-wise, they did a good job. I mean, they don't have to be perfect. I mean, that's 2 game 3s in a row where we've won 7-6. And, you know, there were some big outs in there, and that's a small field and an offensive field, and thank God, you know what I mean, because we had a grand slam, and a 3-run homer that were crucial in us winning those games. But you're going to have to live through, you know, giving up a damage hit or an extra base hit once in a while. And I think Alderman's up there in the top in the country in homers. Uttermark hadn't played a whole lot, and Javen struck him out first time, but he looks like he's going to be a good player and has a lot of power. So proud of the rest of the guys for just kind of overcoming all that.
Ty and Christian, 1 walk between the 2 of them.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal job by those guys. I mean, I kind of see it coming with Ty. I mean, I think everybody needs to keep in mind he's undefeated. The guy's undefeated, the guy that we're talking about. But, he has got a lot of ability and has pitched well at times, or he set a high bar for himself. And he definitely met that bar on Saturday. And then Christian was great. We talked about this last week also. I think a key part in yesterday's game was getting the first inning only to be a one-run inning. Because you got the first two guys on, and you got some really good hitters, coming up. That's a big one. And then he did it again in the second, and then really took over from there. I thought he was outstanding, and really deserved to kind of keep going, and he really put us in position to win.
Overcoming and bouncing back, is that kind of the story of this team right now?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be interested to see how many teams in the country have not lost 2 games in a row this year. I know one, but I think it'd be hard to find another one. So yes, that is. Yeah, absolutely.
The first midweek loss last week, how do you kind of make sure that doesn't happen again this week?
I mean, credit. Well, we're in a little better position on the mound than we were last week. No question about that. And that's a direct credit to Paul and to Ty and to Christian for getting deeper into the game. So that matters. I mean, so I feel much better about that. And it comes at a time of the year where anytime you can get some guys a rest or only throw once in a week or lower their pitch count out of the bullpen, that helps. So I think that's probably the most important part. We, like I alluded to earlier, of treating every game like a playoff game. We actually have a team challenge going on with our midweeks right now, and so we're actually like treating it like a regional, and so we're in an elimination game. This is how we're looking at it, and we did not try to win the game last week or anything like that. We got beat by a team that played really good, that emptied the tank against us, their best reliever and their Friday starter, and they couldn't pitch their best reliever this weekend, and their Friday starter gave up 8 runs, and they lost. So it's I've been there, though. I've been that mid-major coach. When you're on the road and you're playing a top 5 team, you go for it. And I just think we're in a better position going into tomorrow than we were last week. And the SEC will do that to you sometimes.
Travinsky, his 4th year here.
Yeah.
Right.
So awesome. Yeah.
When you got a veteran like that who accepts his responsibility and has that kind of moment, what's your thoughts?
Oh, it's one of the highlights of the season for me. Obviously the magnitude of the win. The importance of that. But again, what we see, I believe, every day has value. And he has continued to get better. It's crazy. You might not think of that as a 4th-year guy that's maybe a reserve player on this team, but he's continued to get better. I mean, I watch every swing and batting practice every single day that he's taken. And, I felt like he was earning more opportunities. And we gave him, I think he pinch hit 3 times last weekend. I totally planned to start him in that second game going into the weekend, and I told him he was going to, play tomorrow night, regardless of what happened. Really happy for him. I think the teammate part of it with him has been awesome, because he's probably a pro player too. But it's a good roster right now, and I expect him to make a massive contribution down the stretch. And I couldn't be happier with how him and Alex played this weekend, both defensively and offensively. They did a great job.
Fans seem to really enjoy your reaction, throwing your hands up and really enjoying the moment and everything. Those are the kind of moments you.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. I would, that was a important. They're all important games, but an important series. And I always feel the best teams find a way to win the tough ones. And this team's undefeated in 1-run games. And usually to win those, you need a good bullpen, and we got just enough out of the bullpen. And you need somebody to get a big hit, and the hits don't come any bigger than that. And I love seeing all of them be successful, but kind of the journey with him, since we got here. I mean, he's been hurt a lot. He essentially missed the fall, and it puts you behind the 8 ball, with this roster. And it's not his fault. It's just the way that it is. And so for him to stick with it, improve, be as team-oriented as he is, there's a lot of teammates real happy for him to come through, and happy for our team, because that was a big win. It's a national champion sweep on the road. It's a big deal. I think Bill said 1996 was the last time LSU had swept there, and so it's a good accomplishment for our guys.
this is actually the second year in a row you swept the defending champs at their place, Mississippi State, the year before. Is it just another series win, or can you get a little more value out of it than that?
Well, I mean, they all count the same in terms of the immediate and the standings. I mean, and I obviously don't look at the series thing as much, but the games, and all games have equal value. You know, with that being said, like it's one of the most consistent programs in college baseball. They're the national champion. They're in a super regional every year. You know, beyond the worthy opponent, and so when you get these, we're trying to have a great season, but we're trying to build a program too, and work our way back to the top. And so yeah, they matter a lot in terms of all of those things. And you know, we were in position to win the SEC West last year, you know, with a depleted staff and, you know, first-year team and all that type of stuff, and they took that from us, you know, and got hot and won the national title. So yeah, it matters a lot in those regards. Yeah.
Hayden was talking about how he's just having fun this year. I think Cade Beloso and Gavin Dugas have also expressed that. I mean, that kind of culture among your older guys. I mean, can you explain where that might come from and how that trickles into the dugout?
Yeah, I think you know, all three of them are from Louisiana. We've talked about that before. They have a lot of pride in this place. They have a lot of pride in their performance. All of them had made contributions earlier in their career. Right now, there's just more good players in the program probably than the last couple of years. And they didn't run away from it. Like Hayden could have gone in the transfer portal. You know, he didn't. You know what I mean? And he's remained a great teammate. And I've seen him celebrate other people's success. And, you know, Cade, same thing. I mean, had Tommy not gotten hurt where he could only DH, Cade would have had a ton more at-bats the first 4 weeks of the season. It just was really hard to navigate all those pieces. But it just didn't, there's no drama to it. You know, and Gavin, you know, was he going to be able to play? Was he not going to? I mean, the guy worked so hard to get back. And it's just like, those guys are so easy to get behind. And, you know, we have just a kind of a saying is like, you'll always place the needs of the team above your own. And that's borderline impossible nowadays with the climate of society and the internet and all of those things. It's happening here right now. And so, like, for me, those guys are easy to get behind. This should be the easiest team to get behind because they're playing for each other. And, you know, the having fun part of it, it's like, hey, man, this is a really cool time, you know, and you never have perspective of that while you're in it. So we're trying to help the players understand that what is actually happening right now is really special. And they're living in that right now. And that's why you're seeing a pretty consistent performance. And those guys, those three old players, they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Speaking of pretty special, I feel like we don't talk about Dylan enough. You know, for the caliber of player that he is.
Yeah.
Almost, 500 on the week last week.
He's the man. Yeah, I mean, whoever's the best at whatever they do, he's that in baseball right now. And, man, it's, JT Quinn got him out yesterday and made a pitch, and I was like, wow, like that must have been a great pitch because it's like the only time he hasn't been on time, like all season. And just the self-control, the athletic talent, the focus, the work ethic, the discipline, team-first attitude. Man, it's. I hope again, I've said this before. I really hope everybody understands what they're watching right now because it's not out there anywhere. It may never come along again.
Yeah, she got the hire of Josh Jordan.
Yeah.
The off season. I mean, you saw what he did do things that
Absolutely.
hadn't been done in 50 years
Yes.
or whatever, 60 years.
Yeah.
Is that what drew you to him?
Yeah, I think Josh is a special coach. He's an unbelievable worker. I mean, the work ethic, you know, just as I was speaking of Dylan's talent, ability, and execution as a baseball player, like from a work ethic standpoint, Josh is unmatched. I mean, he's the hardest working coach I've ever had on my staff. And that's really good company. And so his commitment to doing this at the highest possible level is elite. I mean, elite. He's unbelievable at relating with players, unbelievable at recruiting. I think he's done an excellent job coaching third. Got a guy thrown out yesterday. I gave him a pass on that one. I wasn't too hard on him on that one, but he's done an excellent job coaching third. I think if you talk to Alex, Brady, Hayden, Jared, and Ethan, the catchers, the attention to detail that he's put in with the catchers is exceptional. Almost hired him, initially when I got here, and we went with Coach Fitzgerald, but this time around it was a pretty easy choice, and I'm really, really glad he's here.
Your description of him sounds like his description of you in terms of work ethic. Like no one works harder. He said the same thing about you. So is that what makes it?
Yeah, that and just selfless. I mean, and relentless. Just this dynamic of, it's always going. If I need to call him at 11, I'm calling him at 11, and there's no issue with that. Try not to do that all the time, but there's exceptions. Don't have to think about what's Josh doing today, because I know whatever he's doing is in the best interest of our team and our program. The staff thing, they have to be experts at their job. I think he's an expert recruiter. He's an expert with the catchers, but they have to be great people. Like the most important people, if we're selling anything to anybody, is the players and the players' parents. And when they come play for us, I want them to be really comfortable with the people that are working with their sons, and can't ask for a better guy than Josh Jordan.
Christian Little was expressing to me how pivotal it was to have Alex Milazzo catching for him, and then he said that Alex has been calling a lot of games. Is that true, or is that something that you kind of play around with?
Well, Wes calls the pitches, no doubt about that. I think Alex's experience allows him to have some feel of understanding of maybe what a batter's doing at that time, or he sees an adjustment, and then it's a little bit of a communication thing back with him and Wes. But yeah, Wes calls the pitches. Alex's experience, how I would frame it, is Alex's experience allows him some feedback opportunity that can be helpful for Wes to call the pitch, and then ultimately the pitcher, which was Christian yesterday, super convicted in what he was throwing, and so the execution was at a really high level. So it's kind of like a three-man team with it, but yeah, no, Alex has great feel. Wes calls the pitches. If Alex sees something, he relays it, and then Wes calls the pitch. But if Christian throws like that, I don't care who he thinks is calling the pitches. That was great performance.
What a job Alex has done at the plate as well.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, so phenomenal.
What's changed?
A lot, and just a lot of work and determination. He's hard-nosed, takes a tough at bat. He understands his role in the offense. His batting average is nice, but he's on base and he's always moving the offense. I'm thinking back to Friday night, the seventh run. We were up 6-3. The seventh run in the top of the ninth was a big deal, and Braden, who had a tough game, gets a hit, and then he advances on the ball in the dirt, something we work on all the time, especially with 2 outs. And then Alex gets the 2 strikes. It didn't have a swung at a bad pitch or kind of in between swing, and then got himself back into it and singles right up the middle. It's it's really awesome. Super proud of him, and he's having a great season and a key contributor to what we're doing.
Is that the most rewarding thing for you? Because everything that you've talked about today is the guys taking what your coaches are telling you, and putting it in the club. Is that, like you said, living in it, right?
Yeah, I think it's winning baseball is not complicated, and it's part of our whole program design is recruit. You got to have good players. We have good players, and then there's a development part of it. Some of it takes time. They should be a better player in their third year than their second year, fourth year than their third year. We have a lot of that going on this team, and that's a perfect example of that. And last year, what he played 9 games, so I don't even remember what he did or didn't do before he got hurt. But worked hard, does a great job behind the plate, taking quality at bats to move the offense. We just need him to move the offense with those guys that are coming up at the top of the order. And we've just had way more opportunities to score because of the at-bats that he's taken. So it's just him doing his job.
With Brady, third base gig, is that the ultimate hindsight 2020? Everyone knows that.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than people think. I did it all the way up until the very beginning of the 2021 season, my last year at Arizona. Then I moved in the dugout, that's a lot harder than people think. We have out rules. We have preparation, knowing the outfielder's arms, the situation in the game, who's coming up. I think what I've learned here, it's a little different in the SEC, is the fields are a lot smaller. I mean, every place we play is a homer dome for the most part. So that makes it harder on the third base coach because there's not as much room. You know, there's going to be more close plays, and it's louder. You know, so you have to be really, really vocal, and you have to be really in a good position and demonstrative with, are we sending you, are we stopping you, all of those things. And yeah, I mean, I don't remember who it was that got thrown out at the plate, but I think he's done a really good job. And Coach Fitzgerald did a good job last year. So that's helped because I feel like I can contribute to the players a lot more staying in the dugout than having to coach third base.
Brady, Neal, and passing Kling, how are they sort of progressing?
You know, Brady worked out yesterday. Not a baseball workout, but he worked out yesterday, which was a step in the right direction. Paxton has been taking batting practice, is moving. He's probably a little closer to returning than I would have originally thought when he heard it. But it's, you know, baseball's a first step and reaction game, whether you're getting out of the box or you're going to catch a fly ball or you're breaking on the bases. So with the hamstring injury, that's always the last hurdle, is that initial start and the fast twitch thing. So that's kind of the last layer that we got to get beyond, and really like to have him back. You know, I mean, it's amazing when you think about, you know, losing your starting catcher, starting right fielder, starting second baseman for a few games on top of the pitchers and being in the position we're in. And that's why you love having Hayden Travinski and Alex Milazzo and Ben Napolt and Josh Stevenson. What a great catch yesterday. Like, that was awesome. Like, guy played 4 innings on the weekend. I think he caught like 5 fly balls. So pretty awesome.
And would tell me that's a leg injury?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, yeah.
Ackenhausen,
Great, yeah. We responded well. You know, he even came to Wes and I and said, hey, I think I can go tomorrow, meaning Sunday after he threw. And I was like, it's easy, Tiger. Like, let's which is a great sign. We really need him. I mean, we've won a lot of games, so there might be more pitchers that fall into this category. We've won every game that he's pitched in. And he's pitching a lot of the close games that we've won. So we really need him back. And I thought he looked really good.
Ty looked,
That's okay.
yeah, Ty looked great on Saturday. What are your thoughts on his performance?
I think he's just, you know, he's just been getting better. You know, in his defense, you know, he was really close to finishing that 5th inning against Kentucky last week, and that's another sign of a good pitcher. Maybe if you don't have your best stuff, you can keep getting outs. And he almost did that last week. And I mean, I thought he just executed perfect. We had a very, very specific plan that we needed to execute from the mound to be successful this weekend, and he did it perfectly. I mean, he couldn't do it any better than that. And as long as he felt good, it was like, hey, we're just keep going. Like, there's no matchup thing right now because he's doing what he needs to do to get outs. And really proud of him, and really big step in his progression this week.
We haven't seen him pitch a ton, but Aiden Moffitt is obviously a pretty talented guy.
Very talented.
Is there any chance that
Yeah.
he could be a factor?
Yeah, he could. I'd love for him to be a factor, and he will be for sure in 2024 and 2025. But we just got to get to the strikes. The arm talent is exceptional. It's as good as anybody on the staff. And, you know, we bring him on all these road trips because we believe he's going to be a key contributor. You know, we're going to need him, you know, to keep improving. And I think he is. It's just there's no room or very little room for margin or error or mistakes with the schedule that we play in league. And then you get everybody's best shot on a Tuesday. I mean, the last 2 Tuesdays up at Tulane and last week with UL, like, man, those guys, they come in ready to play. And, you know, I know we had our fair share of 10 runs and all that. Those are hard to come by. So I'd like to get him back out there. If we have a chance to get him back out there, we'll get him back out there because I really believe in him and believe in his talent.
How important was it to just get Javen Coleman out there in an SEC environment?
It's important.
again?
We have a plan of what we're doing with him, and we actually were able to develop it a little further based on what happened yesterday, which I'm excited about. Glad we won the game. You know, we left him in for Utermark because he struck out Utermark the first time through the order.
Right.
So that was 30 pitches. 30 pitches was the max that he was going to go. And so I also think it was beneficial, like he came and finished an inning, completed an inning, and then went back out there. So we actually accomplished a lot. I know there's 3 runs up on the board, but for the 30 pitches, and I think that will serve him well this week. We're going to be super smart. We have a good plan. He and I met on Thursday of how we're going to do this and the role he's going to fit and develop to. And I'm glad we won the game, but we definitely hit our mark for this week on that, which is
I
good.
assume he won't be available tomorrow night.
He will not pitch tomorrow night. Yeah, he will for sure will not pitch tomorrow night.
I did see Garrett Edwards throwing a football this weekend. Will he be available anytime soon?
I don't think so, meaning this immediate week or two. You know, I mean, if Coach Kelly needs a backup, I mean, that's probably doesn't, but, you know, I guess we could let him know that. But I'm a lot more interested in him being able to throw a baseball.